You want to travel and do it in style. However, with inflation crushing earnings, it feels like you need to put those vacation plans on ice. However, we're going to show you that by approaching things differently, you have the opportunity of having the best vacation ever. And this isn't by working the system or travel hacking. This is something in plain sight that if you implement will change how you vacation for the rest of your life.
Last year, before we started travelling for the next 10 years, we thought we'd reward ourselves with a luxury vacation in Cancun, Mexico, staying at the highest rated hotel in Puerto Morelos, according to TripAdvisor. 23,000 reviews, can't be wrong. And wow, it was fantastic. As much food as we could eat in the 11 restaurants and drink that we could pour down our throats from the multitude of bars. The hotel fronted onto a white sandy beach and we had to pinch ourselves. We felt very lucky indeed. This was our celebration for our early retirement and we felt we deserved it. 7 nights in this luxury accommodation cost us $2,124 and we both also indulged in a 1-hour massage at a cost of $320, including the tip. So the grand total for our stay was $2,444, 94 cents.
Fast forward more than a year, and after suffering with a series of ailments, including COVID and a parasite infection, leaving us housebound for over a month, we needed a vacation. But now we've retired and we're watching our budget more than ever before. That hotel we stayed at last year, if we wanted to do exactly the same this year, well, they've increased their prices by over 20%.
That's inflation for you.
Well, yes, it is. And we had to set ourselves a goal.
Yes, and that was by going DIY, could we achieve the following? Vacation in a tropical paradise with more variety, more fun, creating more lasting memories, all for cheaper than 7 nights of luxury that we spent in Cancun.
So the challenge was on and we learned more than we expected. At the end, we'll share all the costs. Let's see if we can beat this inflation bubble. We took the first flight of the day down to southern Thailand to the town of Krabi. We landed at Krabi airport and took a taxi, which we booked via the Grab app, the 17 miles to our hotel in Ao Nang. This was the Ibis Styles, and for our British viewers, you know the Ibis brand. It's known for being budget friendly, but look at this, Ibis doing resort quality hotels. So to our time in Ao Nang. This is your typical tourist beach town. You'll find McDonald's and Burger King, but you also find authentic Thai cuisine and everything in between. Some of the things we did included grabbing a gorgeous fresh smoothie to drink. Just taking a walk through Ao Nang, found a little place here to get a shake to start the day. Unsurprisingly gorgeous, how's that?
Absolutely gorgeous. It's a real fruity start to the day.
Celebrating the first night of our vacation, we had dinner at Rakhang Thai Bistro and Bar.
We have come to a really nice place, very posh in fact, and it's attached to a hotel. So let's see how much this costs.
Yep, good point, Sarah. But note, we did have 5 bottles of beer for the price of 4, and Sarah also had 2-for-1 cocktails. Well, you got to, haven't you? We woke early the next morning because we had something we wanted to do. We wanted to visit Railay Beach. This is one fantastic day anyone that visits Ao Nang needs to do. Okay. And do we have to be on a set boat to come back, or any boat?
Any boat with your ticket.
Okay, so it's 400 total, yeah?
Yeah.
Also, this is one of those bucket list things for Sarah and I. We've always wanted to travel on a long-tail boat in Thailand, and this was our opportunity. A little bit choppier than we expected. Oh, Sarah, that's your first long-tail boat experience.
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, I've been looking forward to doing that for a long, long time because I've seen it on videos, and they're obviously the wooden boats with the big motors out the back, and it's incredible how those guys actually steer them and how they actually move them around and how he parked it. There was no room, but he parked it. Yeah, so I would say that for a first experience, that is not one I want to repeat too soon.
There you go, the intrepid traveller, Sarah.
I'm not a big fan of sea, and especially waves. I'm not a big fan at all. So I would say I enjoyed it with a bit of fear in there. But the hardest thing for me was actually getting on the boat. I'd never thought about how you actually get on them, but I didn't have my shoes on. So with bare feet, it's a bit tricky. So make sure you bring some flip-flops or shoes. You don't mind getting wet.
Sarah had fear. There was a kid on there about 5 years old. She loved it.
Yeah, but she hasn't got fear.
Right, let's have a look at Railay Beach. We haven't eaten anything yet today, so let's find somewhere for brunch.
Yeah.
Do you want to see tourists back on Railay Beach? What do you think of backpackers? Do they annoy you a little bit? Do apologise if you're not a cat lover. We love cats, and when you see a cat that looks like that, almost like an alien, we had to get it on video. On to Railay. One interesting thing about Railay is that it's basically two, or I guess you could say three beaches connected via a walking street that goes between the two. Now, we saw on the left-hand side there a little bar that we could get a drink in, so we got ourselves a beer each, and also we stopped for a spot of lunch because we were a bit later this day than we'd hoped to be. We had a savoury pancake each, and we shared a lemon and sugar pancake. Absolutely gorgeous. So this is that walking street. You can see that it's lined with bars. There are places that you can book tours, be it boat tours or doing something a little bit more adventurous. You can get swimming costumes. You can get just about any knick-knack that you need. If you want a fridge magnet, I'm sure there's a bloke around here that will sell you one. There's also a range of coffee shops, and many of these, as you can see, are just a bit different, a bit interesting. There are cute little lookout areas if you go upstairs, and if your thing is people watching, then this is a place. Grab a drink, pull up a chair, sit down, lap up the sun, and watch all the tourists strolling on by. We took this route to go down to the second beach area.
So we've come round to the other side of Railay Beach. I'm not quite sure what the beach is called, but it's a walkway from Railay Beach, and it's a lot more nature, and we've seen a couple monkeys, but not close enough to get on camera.
It doesn't work on a GoPro camera, unfortunately,
no,
but this is
beautiful.
A lot quieter, a lot more chilled.
There's a lot of people walking backwards and forwards because it's obviously a thing you do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people here. We've got all the long tail boats as well.
But the feel is a lot more chilled and a lot more nature-based, really.
Yes.
But there are some really nice resorts around this side of Railay.
Yeah.
Really nice. Our time at Railay Beach came to an end. We took a long-tail boat back to Ao Nang, and we spent some more time in Ao Nang over the following days, eating a range of international and local Thai cuisine. Prices in Ao Nang are higher than we're used to in northern Thailand, to be honest. Just a straight comparison, what you would pay for a beer in Chiang Mai, where we're staying, is probably 30 or 40% cheaper than what you pay for a beer down in Ao Nang. The sun then set on our time in Ao Nang, and it was time for us to move on to our next location.
We're hoping a minivan is coming to pick us up.
Yep.
And then we are being taken to the ferry, hopping on a ferry, and we are sailing over to Koh Phi Phi Island.
This transport was quite funny, really. We were expecting something a little bit air-conditioned, maybe a nice van or even a private car, but actually we were in a cattle truck. But it was fun. We were with backpackers and felt like we were really getting into that island spirit. So this was enjoyable. They dropped us off near the port, but we found our way, and as you can see, the ferry was very good, large, plenty of places to sit, and it was a couple of hours across to Koh Phi Phi Island. We've never seen anything like this before. We're fairly well travelled, but this is something unique. and is something that will stay in our memories for a long, long time. There are no cars on Koh Phi Phi, so we were mindful that our hotel should be close to the ferry port, and we did well. We came off at the port, we walked for less than 2 minutes and arrived at our hotel. Check-in was simple, and then we were escorted to our room. This was a standard room that we booked. We didn't book anything special, but this was the most expensive accommodation that we'd selected on our trip, and we were pleased that we did. Look at this pool. The hotel actually spans from one side of the island to the other, and the pool effectively does the same. Absolutely gorgeous. We got in the pool with a couple of drinks, made our way to the viewpoint from the pool, said cheers, and realized that this was a vacation like no other. So what were our first impressions of Koh Phi Phi? Come to an amazing little restaurant called Anna's. It's come well recommended, and we've had a chicken satay, which is probably the best chicken satay I think we've ever had. We've ordered a couple of vegetable dishes, a red curry and a pad thai, and Sarah's got some kind of dish. I don't know what that is. Koh Phi Phi is paradise, and the one thing we hate doing on our videos is just talking in superlatives all the time, going, wow, it's amazing, isn't that great? We were just walking down the beach talking to ourselves going, this is amazing, isn't it great? So our first impressions of Koh Phi Phi is we wish we were staying longer than we are already, and we've just arrived.
Better way to see Koh Phi Phi than to hike up to a viewpoint to take in the sunset. We're on our way now, we'll see you up there.
This is actually very steep. Their steps are like 2 by 1, 2 high by 1 long. It's a struggle for an old fella like me. Yeah. It's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not doing this.
Welcome, crab. You know, a lot of people have bailed as we've done this. I don't necessarily blame them, but they're all younger than me and Sarah. And the last lot who bailed a few steps down, they confirmed what they're going to do is go back to the village and get a beer. I don't necessarily say that's a bad decision, I must say. Let's carry on. So you've done the hike up here. How was it for you? Nothing much to say. I guess you got 4 legs. It's half the effort, isn't it? Basically, I think he's out of breath. He's out of breath, unable to talk on camera. I know how he feels. Sarah's off taking photographs, I don't blame her. It's pretty photogenic.
It's now the steep bit on our way to viewpoint 2. They lull you into a false sense of security because it's nice and flat path, but then it goes like that. So that's what we're on now. Going backwards because it's easier.
So we've made it to the viewpoint, and it looks like it's going to be a fabulous sunset. All youngsters. Shouldn't they be getting ready to go out? If you think about it, they've got to do this, and then got to get home, put the glad rags on, put their hairspray in, go out to the local disco. I'd imagine disco's closed about 9. They've got no evening ahead of them. Wasting their lives. Wasting their lives. Well, this wasn't on our bucket list, and actually we did debate whether we should do the hike up. We were there to chill. Should we be out hiking? So pleased we did. This sunset was incredible, and the view of the whole island from up there was something else itself. As we made our way down from our hike, obviously night had set in Koh Phi Phi, and this is where we saw that Koh Phi Phi really is frequented by a younger crowd. There were backpacker bars, there were nightclubs with DJs spinning discs, which I think is what they say, the youngsters say they're going out to see a DJ spin some discs. That's the cool vernacular, I believe. And if you're looking for a quiet place, then I'm sure you can find it on this island, but we saw that the island came alive at night, which was lovely because it wasn't lively in a rambunctious way. It was lively in people just enjoying themselves, chilling on Koh Phi Phi. But obviously there comes a time when we need to move on, and after a few days on Koh Phi Phi, it was back to the ferry port and on to the next step of our journey, which was to the large island of Phuket. We heard a lot of good things about an area called Harn. So as you can see from this map, Harn is a beach. Behind the beach, a lake. Behind the lake, a couple of streets that go up with lovely bars, restaurants, and coffee shops. It's an unusual layout. Normally you see all of the bars and restaurants right on the beach area, but actually right immediately behind the beach in Harn, what you actually see there are kind of shacks and places doing street food for people who are in the beach area, which was really nice, and they're keeping the restaurants a little bit further away. Our first night on Harn actually coincided with it being my birthday. So we did actually go to a nice little bar that did overlook the corner of the beach and had a couple of cocktails. So where did we stay in Harn? Well, we stayed in a hotel called the Harn Beach Resort. This is it here. Just going to give you a very brief tour around. So it had a bar area, which has almost got that kind of dive bar look about it. Doesn't get busy. There's live music often in the evenings, and it's a place that people come to chill. Now, this young lady is a bit special. And why is that? Well, because she created these things. Tickling under there, you're not going to believe what they keep just above their wine cooler. Wait for it. These things. Again, if you're not a cat lover, you're probably watching the wrong video. But this is one of her kittens. I say one because there's more than one. Keep looking, there's this fella. This is the first one that we met when we got to Harn Beach. He came in to the restaurant as we were eating and sat next to us. Cute little fella. These are probably about 4 to 6 weeks old. There's a third one. I'd woken them up. This is dead early in the morning, and you can see they're yawning. Hopefully you can also see we've been in Harn for quite a while at this point, and we were all friends. They knew who I was. They wanted to have a little play. There's 3 of them, but where's the 4th? Well, there's one that's always late, and that's this one here. He came up, pushed everyone out of the way, said, give us a cuddle, and obviously I did. For me, this was the highlight of Harn Beach Resort, but the rest of it, a pool area. Sarah and I would end all of our days by climbing into the pool with a little drink and just talking through what we did on our day and planning our next day of our vacation. So the hotel also has a restaurant area. The restaurant serves Thai food as well as Chinese food. Then as you come round, there's the reception area, a little place to sit, and then let's go round to the rooms and where they are. And these are bungalow areas. I forget how many there are on site, but there's probably 20 or 30 of these rooms. Let's show you our room and you can get a sense for what you get at Harn Beach Resort and how much it costs. Look at that bed. Look at that, that's huge. What's the bed like, Sarah?
It's a little bit softer than we like.
Is it?
But it's huge.
Yeah. Got TV, internet, which is great. Even got a fridge, and in here there's a little safe, big enough to put your passports and things, but not big enough for a laptop. So this is all nice. And then through here, lovely sink area, lots of space on the sink area as well. Little tea and coffee place there. Lovely shower. And through here, the toilet. I mentioned when I explained the outline of the area that there is a lake, and the lake is absolutely beautiful. While there, we rented a bike for a few days, a scooter, and I just thought it'd be really useful if one day we took the scooter and just biked right around the lake. You can see it's totally walkable. There's people jogging around there. There's even an outdoor gym in the area as well. This was a wonderful place to be stationed. Our hotel was literally right next door to this. And just probably 500 yards up the road is where all of the bars, cafes, restaurants and coffee shops are. Needless to say, we love Harn and we love the Harn Beach Resort. we would highly recommend it as a place to stay. While there, we had that scooter, so we visited the one place that you simply must visit if you're on the island of Phuket, and this is the Big Buddha. It's up on a hill. You need to get transport up there. We used our bike, we had to lean into it, put it at full throttle, didn't know whether it was going to make it, it just got there. This fella, he's got lots of friends. There are monkeys everywhere up here, and we're told not to feed the monkeys. He was working out whether he could get his hands on my camera. On our way up to the Big Buddha, we saw a number of restaurants lining the road going up the hill. So we decided on one specifically that we would go to for breakfast that day. So we hopped on our bike, meandered our way slowly down the hill, and found that place for breakfast. And well, you just decide for yourself. Look at this breakfast, look at this view. Did we pick right? I think maybe yes. The last thing we did while in the Harn area is we heard that there are 2 or 3 beaches just up from where we were staying that we needed to visit. We were told initially that there was a viewpoint, and we needed to find that viewpoint so we could see what we were in for. Again, our bike, being 125cc, struggled a little bit with the hills involved in this climb, but I've got to say, it was well worth it. The trip out that day was probably all in all about 50 miles around, as we visited Karon Beach, Kata Beach, Kata Noi, and also Railay Beach. We finished our day back on Harn. We're now finishing up at our local beach. This is Harn Beach. We've got a beer each. Tiger, cheers. And I've got my shirt off, so I do apologise for that. But it is very, very warm now.
Very hot.
Yeah.
Please.
We've shown you everything from Railay right up to Patong, all the beaches between. And later on in this video, we're going to show you Patong, and I think that's going to be very different. What's he talking about later on? We're going to Patong now. We stayed in a hotel called Zenzia Hotel and Spa. This was probably the poshest place, though not the most expensive place we stayed, and it was an education because we'd just come from Harn Beach Resort, which was relaxed. This felt very corporate and actually taught us a little bit that we've changed since we retired to Travel World, and corporate hotels leave us a little bit cold. The other problem we had while being at Patong was it rained incessantly from the moment we arrived till the moment we left. So really interested to see what you think. Is this a kind of vacation you'd be interested in, or would a luxury all-inclusive be more your style? Well, let's get into talking about the prices and what we thought of this vacation compared to an all-inclusive resort.
Before we get to the cost, let's quickly talk about the pros and cons of each of these vacations. Now, we know this video is getting really long and you want to see the numbers, so let's fly through this quickly. The Cancun resort, so we'll start with the pros. Firstly, pure luxury. We felt really special there. So much high quality food available whenever we wanted to eat. A free minibar in our room, even with optics for spirits. An amazing swimming pool.
And then the cons. This is going to be controversial. Let us know in the comments, do you think we're being a bit harsh here? We were basically in a compound which can foster a feeling that the outside world was dangerous. As such, we heard a lot of people sharing safety tips. In our opinion, having spent months in central Mexico last year, we felt this was unfounded and was probably because you're cosseted into a resort, it exacerbates some of the feelings that you have. Another con was excess. I guess that if you have all the food and drink available, it can lead to a potentially unhealthy approach to a vacation. Guilty, but at the time, Sarah, I've got to say it felt more like a pro than a con. And another con is that we really didn't fancy Mexico. And that's the way these things go. When you're in a resort, you're not going to see the country that you're in. You're going to see a curated version of that country.
Then to our trip to the Thai Islands.
And firstly, we've got to say what we're doing here is we're comparing a luxury vacation to a DIY vacation.
Yeah.
We're not comparing Mexico to Thailand.
And so to the pros for the DIY holiday, being under our own steam and being able to make our own decisions about where we wanted to travel felt really liberating. We could do whatever we wanted. All we needed to do was spend some time working on the logistics.
And we had a massage at Harn Beach that cost $20.30 for both of us, including tip. Not only that, my massage therapist, we had a lot of laughs. She was actually laughing mainly at my man boobs. But it
Didn't know that.
No, I know, but you know, it was an all-round really positive experience. I enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. So what about the cons? Well, I made a mistake by booking a return flight to Krabi, not realising that at the end of our vacation, we're going to finish in Phuket, which is 110 miles away. So I needed to book a taxi, $85, which at the end of the day, isn't a crazy price for 110
Not really.
110 mile trip. And another con is, with it being DIY, we did need to spend a proportion of our time involved in logistics and packing up and moving to get on ferries. So if you're the kind of person that likes to just get on vacation, open your case, unpack and relax, then this kind of vacation wouldn't be for you, to be honest. We have to say we preferred the DIY trip to the luxury trip by a distance. But Sarah, what about the costs? How do we do?
So at the beginning, we said the Cancun trip cost $2,444 94 cents. Did we come under that cost?
Yeah, with vacations these days, everyone's out of their COVID lockdowns and can travel, which is boosting the cost of vacations. But then you've got to look at the overall inflationary background we're in. Could we do it? Well, the Thailand trip cost us a total of $1,853.72. That's 24% lower than the luxury trip. Success! We did it. And if you think that in this DIY trip we had to pay for that ridiculous taxi at $85, we had to pay for other taxis, we paid for ferries, there were 2 ferries involved, we even rented a scooter for a few days as well. So against that backdrop, that's pretty impressive. But viewers, we need to come clean. We've not been totally truthful with you at the end of this video. We're sorry. And the reason is, we're not comparing like for like. You're watching this thinking that. You're watching this going, yeah, but that's luxury. They stayed in, well, of course it's going to be cheaper. The one thing we've not told you, that luxury trip was 7 days. This DIY trip was 15 days. 15 days, and it was cheaper, and it was more exciting, more fun.
More memories.
More memories. It gave us all of that stuff. The Cancun trip was $349 a night, and that compares to $123 a night for the Thailand trip. That's almost a third less.
Coming back to what we said at the beginning of the video, you want that vacation, but it seems you may just have to put those plans on ice. And we said, just by trying something a bit different, you may just end up with the best vacation ever.
Yeah, so what vacation would you have chosen of these two? Let us know in the comments below. We're really interested to know whether we've made you think a little bit differently on this. We retired early, enabling us to do these kind of crazy experiments and learn how to do things differently. If you're thinking of retiring early, you might want to watch this video next, because in here we show you a way that you might be able to shave years off your retirement date.